all of you, right? So this was like not planned, and then I saw a lot of tweets late evening on my timeline while asking कि सर आगे क्या मार्केट लगता है, एंड आई कैन सेंस दैट देयर इज अ पैनिक. और मैं कुछ काम में बिजी था, राइट? सो मैंने आज ज्यादा कुछ किया नहीं, बिकॉज मैं फुली इन्वेस्टेड था और मैं कहीं ट्रैवल भी कर रहा था ड्यूरिंग द डे. सो कुछ ज्यादा मैं ट्वीट्स देख भी नहीं पाया, मार्केट्स भी नहीं देख पाया. बट देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ मिसकंसेप्शन इन द मार्केट कि भाई एफ आई बेच रहे हैं और ओनली रिटेलर्स आर लूजिंग और ओनली डी आई आर लूजिंग, और अभी क्या पोजिशनिंग है. सो आप प्लीज समझो, काफी बच्चों लोगों को डेटा ही नहीं पता है. मैंने क्या बोला, अगर एफ आई 50 लाख निफ्टी में शॉर्ट है, सो यू मल्टीप्लाई दैट 50 लाख क्वांटिटी इंटू 16,000, उसकी वैल्यू 8,000 करोड़ की आती है, राइट? और उसके सामने आप 40 लाख करोड़ वर्थ ऑफ स्टॉक्स लॉन्ग हो. यानी आप इंडियन मार्केट, लेट्स से आप स्टॉक फ्यूचर्स का भी डेटा पकड़ लो, उसमें लेट्स से कि वो शॉर्ट है, उसको भी अगर आप पकड़ लेते हो तो 39 लाख करोड़ इक्विटी नेट लॉन्ग है. और मैं अपनी स्टॉक को नीचे बेचकर, जबकि मुझे मालूम है कि ये 1-2 साल बाद ये कंपनीज, या 6 महीने बाद ये कंपनीज अच्छा रिजल्ट पोस्ट करने वाली हैं. हर यूएस की कंपनी से मोटा माटी 95% यूएस कंपनी से ये कंपनीज अच्छा रिजल्ट पोस्ट करने वाली हैं. तो मैं उनको क्यों बेच रहा हूं? यानी कहीं ना कहीं मेरी बहुत जरूरत है, और मैं उसको कहीं ना कहीं अभी वो जरूरत मीट आउट करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. लास्ट टाइम मैंने राकेश झुंझुनवाला जी का एक रियल लाइफ टाइम एग्जांपल दिया था. उनको पैसे की जरूरत आ गई, उनको बैंक को पैसे चुकाने थे, वो 7500 निफ्टी के पे. उनको 400 करोड़ का टाइटन बेच के और वो बैंक को पैसे देने पड़े, वो मजबूरी होती है. द सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन एफ आई आर फेसिंग, राइट? कि उनको क्या लगता है कि जहां पे भी उनको मौका मिल रहा है, दे आर सेलिंग अक्रॉस ऑल द इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स. वेरी सिंपल कि वहां यूएस में जो पब्लिक, पहले तो ये मिसकंसेप्शन हटा दो कि किसी एफ का खुद का पैसा होता है, राइट? ये सारा पब्लिक का पैसा होता है जो वो रेज करते हैं, राइट? और वहां पे पब्लिक को क्रिप्टोज में या योर स्टॉक्स करके लिस्टिंग होती थी वहां पे. और मोस्ट ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी स्टॉक्स आर डाउन 90-95%, mainly the micro caps ones, the kachra caps one. And if investors are down by 90-95% vis-a-vis, in India they are down by, maybe they on 2 years basis they are still making money, on 1 year basis they are flat. So what they are नॉर्मली व्हाट पीपल डू कि जिधर प्रॉफिट लॉस बुक किया उसके सामने उतना प्रॉफिट बुक कर लिया, तो सामने सामने एक थोड़ा ईगो के लिए भी ठीक रहता है, एंड देन यू गेट द मनी फॉर योर एक्सपेंसेस एंड टू शो टू योर फैमिली दैट कि यू आर एट ए ब्रेक इवन. यू नो, यू हैवंट लॉस्ट द मनी इन द इंटायर गेम. एंड एग्जैक्टली जितना इंडिया का रिटेलर एजुकेटेड है उतना ही यूएस का ये थोड़ा ज्यादा हो सकता है, राइट? सो सिमिलर रिटेल मेंटालिटी, they are booking out from the markets where the markets are strong, and they are just compensating for their losses. So ये बड़ा सिंपल है. बट अभी किसी ने मेरे ट्वीट पे काउंटर ट्वीट किया, कोई होगा जिसको समझ नहीं होगी, प्लीज आप समझिए. आप 7.5-8% की ग्रोथ के साथ 5%-6% का इन्फ्लेशन करना, मैनेज करना काफी इजी है, एज कंपेयर टू 2-3% की जीडीपी और 8% का इन्फ्लेशन, जो कि यूएस का केस है. यूएस के स्टॉक्स क्यों गिर रहे हैं? कि वहां पे जीडीपी 3% की है, और इस तरीके से गिर रहे हैं कि आप इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकते इंडिया में कुछ भी नहीं गिरे उसके कंपैरिजन में, राइट? बिकॉज we have serious interest in US markets, so I can tell you वहां पे स्टॉक्स बहुत ज्यादा गिरे, राइट? और उसके पीछे सिंपल सा रीजन यही है कि वहां पे ग्रोथ जो है वो 2-2.5-3% की रह जाएगी आने वाले टाइम में विद फेड टाइटनिंग. और वहां पे इन्फ्लेशन फेड कुछ भी कर ले तो 4-4.5-5% के नीचे आना शॉर्ट टर्म में मुश्किल लगता है. सो वहां पे जो नेगेटिव ग्रोथ हो जाएगी 2-2.5% की, राइट? और वहां पे लोग कह रहे हैं कि वो यूएस मार्केट में वैल्यूएशन चीप हो गई तो वहां लगाना चाहते हैं. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली ए इडियोटिक लॉजिक वन कैन हैव इन देयर लाइफ एंड इन द इन्वेस्टिंग फिलोसफी, राइट? सो जो इकोनॉमी -2% से रफली ग्रो करेगी ऑन द रियल टर्म्स, वहां पे इन्वेस्टर्स नहीं जाएगा. उनको परेशानी है कि उनको काफी लंबा रिडेम्पशन आया है, लोगों ने बिटकॉइन और डिफरेंट क्रिप्टोज में बहुत पैसा तोड़ा है, और उन लॉसेस को लोग फंड कर रहे हैं वाइल बुकिंग आउट फ्रॉम द इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स। और उसके पीछे कई सारी परेशानियां हो गई। नेचुरली ग्लोबल इन्फ्लेशन ज्यादा, इसमें कहीं कोई दो राय नहीं है, बहुत बहुत ज्यादा इन्फ्लेशन है। बट चांसेस है कि 2 3 4 महीने में आपको ग्लोबल इन्फ्लेशन भी नीचे आता हुआ दिखेगा, और इंडिया का इन्फ्लेशन जो आज आया वो नेचुरली एंटीसिपेटेड था, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने इलेक्शन के बाद ये अपने फ्यूल के प्राइसेस बढ़ाए थे, और आपकी इन्फ्लेशन जो है वो फ्यूल प्राइसेस पे काफी हद तक बहुत डिपेंडेंसी है आपकी, राइट। सो इन्फ्लेशन आपका 1 2 महीना और ज्यादा रहेगा। बट मेरे को क्या लगता है, मैं देखूं तो मेरे को तो एंटिसिपेटेड नहीं था कि 16,400 के नीचे जाएगा, टू बी ऑनेस्ट। और मैंने 1 2% की रेंज दी थी। तो मुझे किसी भी हाल में 16,100 के नीचे नहीं लग रहा है कि मतलब बहुत सस्टेन करेगा। 2 4 10 दिन 15 दिन के लिए ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, बट ये मार्केट का एक्सट्रीम एक्सट्रीम वैल्यूएशन जोन है। जिसने भी, मैं कह रहा हूं मार्केट का, मैं 30 35 साल का जो इंडियन मार्केट का डेटा है, और मैं इंटरेस्ट रेट डिफरेंशियल की बात करूं, और इंटरेस्ट रेट जो प्रिवेलिंग होने वाले हैं उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पी मल्टीपल्स की भी बात करूं, अगर ये इंटरेस्ट रेट रेपो रेट और 100 बेसिस पॉइंट से भी बढ़ जाते हैं, तो भी इंडिया का पी मल्टीपल 19 टाइम्स 18.5 टाइम्स के आजू बाजू रहेगा। और उस पे जिसने भी माल खरीदा है उसको 26 27 टाइम्स पे बेचने का कई बार मौका मिला है। So the gap right now, the downside is hardly 5 7 8%, and the upside clearly for next 2 year is minimum 50%. So आप अगर यहां पे डरोगे या आपको कोई परेशानी है, आप वही पैसा लगाओ जो आप अफोर्ड कर सकते हो। एफएनओ हम लोगों ने आई थिंक 7, नवनीत ने कई उसमें वीडियोस में या मेरी टीम ने आपको बोला है कि जब तक ईएमए 63 के ऊपर निफ्टी नहीं जाता है तब तक आपको एफएनओ में बड़ी ट्रेडिंग नहीं करनी है, राइट। और शायद मैं आपको बोलूं तो मेरा लास्ट एफएनओ का ट्रेड एचडीएफसी बैंक का ट्रेड है। दो हम लोगों ने निफ्टी इंट्राडे बहुत सारा ट्रेड किया होगा, बैंक निफ्टी किया होगा, ऑप्शंस किया होगा, बट स्टॉक फ्यूचर्स में सिंगल जो मेरा ट्रेड है वो एचडीएफसी बैंक का लास्ट ट्रेड है। आई थिंक वो हमने अप्रैल के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में किया था। मई में तो स्टॉक फ्यूचर की एक बाइंग भी नहीं है, एंड द रीजन इज वेरी सिंपल कि 17,400 के जिस दिन नीचे निफ्टी बंद हुआ था उस दिन ईएमए 63 डे टूटा था। और ये मैंने इसके बारे में 100 ट्वीट्स किए होंगे ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम कि इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है ईएमए 63 का। और वो शायद अब जो जिनको थोड़ा सा मार्केट का एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, वो थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे होंगे। अब आगे आपको क्या करना चाहिए, अगर आपके हाथ में पोजीशन रह गई है, एफएनओ की भी रह गई है, आप मत काटो। अगर आपने 25 30% का लॉस देख लिया है, शायद आपको 2 5% का लॉस देखना बाकी है। यहां से आपको बहुत बड़ी रैली देखने को मिल सकती है, विच विल बी ए काउंटर ट्रेंड रैली। लेकिन तो भी अगर आपको 17,000 भी आ जाता है तो आपके लॉसेस जो हैं एफएनओ में काफी मिनिमाइज हो सकते हैं। बट आई रिपीट जब तक मार्केट ईएमए 63 के ऊपर नहीं आता है तब तक आप अपनी एफएनओ की ट्रेडिंग हल्के रखो, कम रखो। सो ये हो गई ट्रेडर्स की बात। इन्वेस्टर्स की बात, इन्वेस्टर्स आंख बंद करें, अपना पैसा लगाएं, अपनी जॉब पे जाएं, अपने बिजनेस पे जाएं, या आपका ट्रेडिंग का काम है तो आप ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग करें। साइडवेज मार्केट है, मुझे लगता है कि मार्केट में ठीक है आपको 200 300 पॉइंट का गैप मिल रहा है ऊपर नीचे, बट आप थोड़ा सा डीप पॉकेट प्लेयर हो तो ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग में उतना आपको आरओआई के टर्म्स में नुकसान नहीं होगा। आप लिवरेज मत करो, राइट। और आप ओवरऑल अगर थोड़ा खड़े रहोगे 2 3 हफ्ते, अगर मार्केट साइडवेज हो गई तो आपको आयरन फ्लाई में या आपको स्ट्रैडल में 5 5 सौ 4 4 सौ पॉइंट मिल सकते हैं। निफ्टी में भी, बैंक निफ्टी में आपको 1000 पॉइंट भी मिल सकते हैं। तो इस तरह का पोटेंशियल गेन है अगर आप ऑप्शन में ट्रेडिंग इस लेवल पे करना चाहते हो तो। चांसेस अगर यहां से मार्केट साइडवेज भी हो गई तो बहुत बड़ा पैसा बन जाएगा। लेकिन आप कोशिश करो कि बहुत ओवरनाइट रिस्क मत कैरी करो, बिकॉज काफी गैप डाउन और राइट, इंडिया कभी ग्रो नहीं कर पाएगा. Navneet, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. So Anand, you need to check your connection, right? So जिसको लगता है कि इंडिया ग्रो नहीं कर पाएगा उसको कल ही बेच देना चाहिए. अगर आपको लगता है कि आप अपनी जॉब में ग्रो करने वाले हो, टीसीएस का प्रॉफिट ऊपर आने वाला है, रिलायंस का प्रॉफिट ऊपर आने वाला है, सो ये स्टॉक मार्केट यहां नहीं रहेगा. ये मैं 2008 में मेरा पोर्टफोलियो 56% डाउन हो गया था, डिस्पाइट ऑफ ऑल द रिस्क मैनेजमेंट एंड ऑल दोस इंस्ट्रूमेंट जो मैंने सारे यूज किए, उसके बाद भी 56% डाउन हो गया था. और ट्रस्ट मी, उस समय मेरी एज बहुत कम थी, मैं बहुत ज्यादा परेशान था कि यार ये क्या होगा, जॉब सिक्योरिटी भी नहीं थी, राइट. उस समय मैं जॉब में था, राइट. और आई डोंट नो क्या हुआ, आप शंकर शर्मा को पूछना. शंकर ने एक इंटरव्यू में बोला था कि वो शॉर्ट था और उसको काटने का मौका नहीं मिला, मार्केट ने नहीं दिया. वो 2500, मेरे को आज भी याद है, 252543 थी निफ्टी, आई थिंक 13th या 14th मार्च 2009, राइट. और इन द मैटर ऑफ 2 months, आई थिंक 18th या 19th को मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार आई थी, यूपीए 2, और निफ्टी का रेट था 45-4600. सो रफली 80% रैली इन 2 months, राइट. सो ठीक है, अभी आप 10-15% गिरे हो, आपको लोग ट्रोल भी कर सकते हैं, आपको बोल भी सकते हैं कि तुमको समझ नहीं है, मार्केट में लॉस हो जाता है, ये हो जाता है, फेयर इनफ, राइट. आप 10-15% डाउन हो, बट इस मार्केट का पोटेंशियल ये है, आपने देखा है कोविड के टाइम पे क्या हुआ था, राइट. सब लोग इसी तरीके से नर्वस थे. 7500 की निफ्टी आई, कंपनीज के रिजल्ट्स खराब आ रहे थे, कंपनियों में ताला लगा हुआ था, मारुति का प्लांट बंद था और मारुति का स्टॉक 4000 के नीचे नहीं जा रहा था, राइट. निफ्टी 70, सारी कंपनियां के रिजल्ट्स लॉसेस आ रहे थे और स्टॉक्स प्राइसेस ऊपर जा रहे थे. आप प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड करो, ये इन्फ्लेशन 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 बहुत हो गया, ठीक है. अब आने वाले टाइम में आप यूएस में भी इन्फ्लेशन कम देखेंगे. इस मई का इन्फ्लेशन आप ऐसा देखेंगे कि आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. बिकॉज मेरा ये मानना है, मेरी थियरी है कि जब एसेट प्राइसेस ऊपर होते हैं तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस ऊपर होता है, जब एसेट प्राइसेस नीचे होते हैं तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस नीचे होता है, आप अपने फ्यूचर को लेके अनसर्टेन होते हैं, आप स्पेंडिंग पे जरूर कट डाउन करेंगे, राइट. और वो यूएस में भी होगा, वो इंडिया में भी होगा, और ग्लोबली ये सारी चीजें सेल्फ एडजस्ट होंगी, राइट. मार्केट अभी सब कुछ नेगेटिव देख रहा है, मार्केट को कुछ भी पॉजिटिव नहीं दिख रहा, राइट. लेकिन एक चीज तो है, अगर इन्फ्लेशन इतनी है तो कहीं ना कहीं ग्रोथ तो है, राइट. और अगर अगर आपको इन्फ्लेशन को फाइट करना है तो आपके पास दो ही टूल है, एक ग्रोथ है और दूसरी इक्विटी है, तीसरा कुछ भी नहीं है. तीसरा चौथा जो भी आपके पास है वो काउंटर मेजर्स है टू कंट्रोल द इन्फ्लेशन. सो फोकस ऑन ग्रोथ, फोकस ऑन क्वालिटी, एंड फोकस ऑन इक्विटी, राइट. बिकॉज इक्विटी के बिना आप नहीं इन्फ्लेशन को बीट कर पाएंगे. वो थियरी थी कि गोल्ड को ले लो, इन्फ्लेशन का हेज है, और अभी गोल्ड का ऑलमोस्ट अपने रिसेंट जो स्विंग हाई है उससे गोल्ड तकरीबन 10% करेक्ट हो चुका है, राइट. गोल्ड जैसा एसेट क्लास 10% करेक्ट हुआ है, निफ्टी 12-14% करेक्ट हुई है, करेक्ट. गोल्ड जिसमें एक हार्डली 5-7% का मूव आता है, जो कि इन्फ्लेशन का हेज माना जाता था, वो 10% करेक्ट हो गया नेगेटिव साइड में, राइट. सो आप प्लीज समझें, बहुत सारी, और डेफिनेटली मेरे को पता है कि ये चीजें थोड़ी डिफिकल्ट हैं, मेरे लिए भी इतना इजी नहीं है प्रेडिक्ट करना, राइट. बट मैं यही बोल सकता हूँ कि मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ये बोलता है कि ये एक्सट्रीम पैसिमिज्म है, बिल्कुल बड़ा सेल ऑफ है. प्लस एक जो देखो, मैं आपको बोलूं तो कभी ना कभी क्या होता है कि सारी बैड न्यूज ना एक साथ आती है. सो ये एक्सिस म्यूचुअल फंड का भी जो हुआ वो ठीक नहीं हुआ, राइट. उसकी टाइमिंग बहुत गलत थी, और उसकी वजह से आप जो देख रहे हो कि स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स में थोड़ा सा अंडर परफॉर्मेंस आपको ज्यादा देखने को मिल रहा है. उसके पीछे रीजन ये भी है कि बहुत सारे लोग चाहे वो म्यूचुअल फंड के पूरे फंड्स का फ्रॉड ना हो, वो इंडिविजुअल लोगों ने फ्रॉड किया है। ये थोड़ी ओल्ड प्रैक्टिस भी है, फ्रंट रनिंग होती है, बड़ी कॉमन सी प्रैक्टिस है। बट उसकी वजह से ना पूरे मार्केट्स में ना थोड़ा म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री का नाम खराब हो रहा है, राइट। तो उसका भी एक इम्पैक्ट आपको मार्केट में जो 2-3 दिनों में देखने को मिला रिडम्पशन प्रेशर में, वो है। फ्लोज थोड़े से LIC के IPOs में भी काफी चले गए। वो शायद पैसा आपको रिलीज होता हुआ नजर आएगा 2-4-10 दिन में, जब भी अगर LIC की IPO अगर ओके ओके टाइप की लिस्टिंग होती है, ग्रे मार्केट तो नेगेटिव बता रहा है, अगर लिस्टिंग होती है तो वो पैसा भी फ्री होके वापस मार्केट में रीडिप्लॉय होगा। टू कट द लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, आप $160 क्रूड पे बैठे हो, 8% इन्फ्लेशन पे बैठे हो, आप यूएस मार्केट में नैस्डैक 30% करेक्ट हो चुका है, वहां का रसल 2000 जो वहां का स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स है वो 32% करेक्ट हो चुका है, आपका स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स 29% करेक्ट हो चुका है, राइट, फ्रॉम 52 वीक हाई, राइट। सो एक इन्फ्लेशन है, राइट, एक इन्फ्लेशन है और एक टाइटनिंग है, राइट। आप जाके पीछे इन्फ्लेशन और टाइटनिंग का कोरिलेशन स्टडी कर लो 2006-5 से, आप उसके पीछे भी चले जाओ, ये एक्सट्रीम केस की बियरिशनेस है और ये लंबे समय तक सस्टेन नहीं करेगी, राइट। ये प्राइसेस जो आज हैं ये 3 महीने बाद नहीं होंगे। अगर आप यहाँ पे कैश कॉल ले रहे हो या अपनी होल्डिंग बेच के मार्केट से बाहर, तो अगर वो उस तरह से, अगर मुझे लग रहा है ये प्राइसेस नहीं सस्टेन हो सकते तो वो नहीं होंगे ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ये है कि जब मैं देखता हूँ कि यार ये प्राइसेस ठीक नहीं लग रहे हैं, ये बहुत ज्यादा अंडर वैल्यूड हो गया, 2-5 दिन में और भी लोगों को लगेगा, दे विल कम एंड बाई एंड दोज प्राइसेस विल गो हायर, राइट। LIC के IPO के एडजस्टमेंट्स के बाद कल थोड़ा सा फ्राइडे, कल थोड़ी और सेलिंग हो सकती है, मैं उसको रूल्ड आउट नहीं करता हूँ, मंडे को भी हो सकती है, राइट। एक बार LIC का IPO आपका जो जैसे भी ऊपर नीचे करके निकल जाता है, लिस्टिंग हो जाती है सब कुछ, उसके बाद आई थिंक मार्केट शुड शुड रिकवर फ्रॉम हियर ऑन। एंड आप 16,400-500 से लेकर 7 के बैंड में अगले 2-3 महीने अगर स्पेंड करते हो तो बहुत अच्छा बेस बन जाएगा। एंड देन यू कैन थिंक ऑफ क्रॉसिंग माई अपर बैंड विच इज 18,600, 19,000। सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड। अगर किसी की कुछ क्वेरी है तो नवनीत एक दो क्वेरी ले सकते हैं क्विकली। हाँ नवनीत, किसी की क्वेरी है तो आप नवनीत को भेज सकते हैं, आई आई विल टेक इट अप।
सर क्वेरी नहीं है, सफीर जी आए हैं। अगर आपको उनसे व्यू लेना है
कौन
तो।
कौन है?
सफीर आनंद
हाँ
जी।
प्लीज प्लीज एड हिम एज ए स्पीकर और सेंड हिम द स्पीकर रिक्वेस्ट प्लीज।
श्योर सर।
हेलो सफी सर।
Yeah, hi, good evening.
गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग, हाउ आर यू?
All good. How are you all?
So I'm great. So what is your current take on the market? That is the right now the central question in everybody's mind, that what big guys are doing and what is your take on the market?
See, the take on the market in the last few months, whenever I've come on spaces, has been that we had not seen any correction in the market and therefore were not aware of the way retail would behave. And
Okay.
what has started transpiring is that the market fall, although it has only been effectively 9 days or 10 days of fall, it has been a fall of almost 2% per day in small and mid caps, where a lot of retail resides. A lot of retail money is in small and mid caps. The retail doesn't necessarily directly own a lot of large caps. They may own it through SIPs and through funds, but not directly. And what has started happening is that the retail is reacting in the same way as was predicted, which is that with the market fall, they are panicking now. And when they are panicking, they are not differentiating between scripts. It is not that there is a correction in the market. The point is that in the correction, differentiation is not being made between good and bad, and therefore a lot of good is also getting battered just as bad. And here bad doesn't mean bad companies, here bad only meant bad valuation correcting, but even decent valuations are correcting sharply. And some of this is to do with the fact that people are losing faith. Some of it is to see the DII buying that is coming in the market, unlike the past, is not sustaining the FI selling anymore, which is the reason is that the FIs are selling large caps, the DIs are buying some of those large caps and still not being able to survive the market. And therefore the fall in some of the large caps has been lesser than the fall in the mid and small caps. Of course it will stop. It has to stop, and it should stop, and there is value in the market and there is selective value there. But the difficulty is that even good results are getting badgered. So the first important thing is that the difference between the US market underperformance vis-a-vis India must narrow down. The second is that I don't think these supply chains and the Ukraine crisis and all are right now going to do anything immediately. So in some way the dollar rate has to cool down, or there has to be less of FI selling. There is actually nothing positive that is coming out from a sentiment perspective, because the sentiment is all of fear. It's massive amount of fear. In a matter of few months the market may look reasonable, but right now first it has to stop falling. How can you see 9 consecutive days of 2% drawdowns each? I mean, I don't know many people whose portfolios are not down some 15, between 15 to 20 to 30%. And there is inflation problem, because high inflation means savings don't happen. If savings don't happen, then where will the money come from? Money to invest has to come from the saving of people, no? So it is a period where we have to wait and watch. We have, of course, as investors, we have at least I am fully invested. The portfolio has had a drawdown. Wherever I find that there's a reason to shift, for example, I don't own high PE stocks and I don't intend to own them. But that's not to say that the others are not correcting.
सर एक अनुज का सवाल है, आपको अभी कौन से सेक्टर अपीलिंग लग रहे हैं फॉर नेक्स्ट 1 to 2 years?
to to be honest, that first of all, thank you, Sophie sir. To be honest, everybody is against IT, right? Because Nasdaq is falling and everything is falling apart. But I keep my positive stance on IT stocks, and now they are I was the one around 40,000 when CNX IT hit 40,000 levels. I was the one who told everybody to just get out, right? And right now the index is trading around 29,000 to 30,000 band. Most of the stocks have corrected some 15 to 20%, and some of the mid caps corrected almost 40 to 50%. I think this is the time to normally you can allocate 20-25% of your portfolio in IT stocks. And the reason is very very simple. The growth will come, and right now the kind of panic I'm seeing in startup universe, a lot of this job shifting mechanism and going for ESOP and all those, and attrition will go down, right? And slowly and gradually the IT companies will come back and their margins will come back. So IT is surely the safe haven, zero debt. Again, the now the valuations are turning reasonable. So IT is the one. Second, pharma index has almost given zero return in last 18 to 20 months. And now some of the pharma companies has corrected some 30 to 50%. And again, most of the pharma companies are debt free, and I feel they have also corrected 30 to 50%. So these are the two sectors where if you have a time frame of 1 to 2 years, you can surely look into. Because if you are worried about inflation and high interest rate scenario, so you should go for a company where the debt is less, or either zero. So these are the two sectors where I am currently investing my money, and already invested in those companies. 3 4 days back, I am fully invested from 16,400 levels, and I don't have fresh money to invest. But I feel over the period of time, if Nifty remains here for next 3 to 5 months, that is my wish. I'll be getting a lot of inflows, and I'll be investing those money into the stock market. There is no second place for me to invest in any instrument, right? So right now, equity is so undervalued for me on 2 years basis. And if I can surely thump the table at 15,800, and can tell you with my all the data and experience. I know everybody says this time it is different. This time the market is have to deal with inflation, and this is 7.5 and all, right? I have seen the much higher inflation in India. I have seen the inflation of 11.5% during UPA 2, when growth and everything is scam and everything was going on, right? And growth was like not available, right? At that point of time, market did nothing. It just went sideways, right? So the downside risk, I'll give you one interesting data here. So let me give you the data. In 2010, if I'm not wrong, Nifty made a high of 61 62,000 62 6100 6200, and after that it came down to 4500 in 2011. So 20 25% kind of a correction, when the inflation was 11% in India. And then it again gone to some 6000 in 2012, came back. I took my neck out, though it is not required. The downside risk for this market is 5%, and the upside risk is 40 50%. The market may surprise everybody, and then on the hindsight we'll again say, oh, it was a great buying opportunity, but I didn't have the courage to buy it, right? So I have so many examples from the past, and I think this time it is not different. It is giving you the opportunity to get your asset allocation right. If you are 80 85% in fixed income or other securities, and you are only having 20% in terms of equity allocation, this is the right time to at least go up to 50%. So two sectors, and these are the view on the markets on the basis of the past inflation and everything. I have gone through 30 years of data, and I don't see another not more than 5 to 7% kind of a correction from here on. So this is my limited take. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you. The next question है RBI is planning more aggressive rate hikes from June.
Okay.
How this will affect the
So
market?
it's almost priced in, right? The way Mr. Das came on that day and hiked the rate, it was quite obvious, right? He's gonna hike at least 75 basis point in next two policy meets. So in June, I'm expecting 35 basis point. So it will make 75, and then maybe another 50 basis points in coming policies. So it is almost priced in. There is no, the market is right now watching US. The moment the inflation in US start coming down, you'll see market rallying big time, and the May inflation for USA will be seriously down. Take my words. I'll do the space on that day. I think the data will come on 10th May, and you'll watch that print, right? The intelligent people will start pricing that print well before the event. This is my experience of last 17 18 years. With all the anecdote, I can tell you, market will start pricing that inflation number well before anybody imagination. maybe it could be tomorrow itself, right? And the second, the bond yields in USA are just going down, right? You can go and check the data. They are down by from the recent peak, right? So there is a clear cut sign that the market is almost near the bottom, right? I cannot, this time it is different. Every time I told you and you have to act, right? And you have to act fast, because this time the market will not give you any chance to act.
And no more questions, sir.
Why I'm so confident with this view? Because I can see extreme bearishness among people, right? People are so bearish and afraid. I cannot imagine, right? The biggest bull on India, they are not feeling comfortable, right? And market will, my wish is market should remain here for next couple of months, so you form a durable base. But normally when the, the sentiments reach to such level where, nobody is feeling bullish, market will, not stop here. It should go higher.
No, I have some questions. I have some questions on this. First of all, and these are only factual
Yeah, please.
questions, and these are not. This is not
Yeah,
my opinion because my opinion will always be wanting the
yeah.
good. First of all, I don't share the view that everybody is bearish, because actually, in every single person that I know, and most of the people I know are HNIs or large investors, nobody has sold.
Mm-hmm.
So being bearish is you requires people to be sitting on cash, and people are not sitting on cash. They've accepted the drawdown because it came very fast
Mm-hmm.
and it came very unexpected. Secondly, India is not in a bearish phase. If you look at the meltdown in the rest of the world, it is correcting, but it is corrected less than half of US. You cannot have a situation where the world's largest companies have had drawdowns of 40%. And in India, with a drawdown of 17 or 18%, we are comparing India and saying it is extremely bearish. It's the problem is not, see, the large investors are not worried over long term. So I agree with you that over long term, that's why they're invested. That's why even if they haven't sold, they're not selling even now. Their problem is that while you are comparing the inflation, the inflation is coming at a time when there are very strange situations vis-a-vis China, very strange situations vis-a-vis supply chains. I've just come back from America yesterday. You know, the actual household spending in America is equivalent to their earning. America has no surplus money. A normal person in America has no surplus money as of inflation rate today. The US Fed has failed to tame inflation. It's at 40-year highs. Of course, 40-year highs, even I tweeted that 40-year highs will not sustain. But the question is today, when they don't have the money, and there is this unexpected crash that is coming because of Bitcoins. I mean, a lot of people who are losing huge amount of money in Bitcoins, the value destruction in Bitcoins has been very severe. Don't forget, unlike the equity market, the Bitcoin market has not been rallying for the last 1 year. Now, with this crash that has come from some 50,000 levels to 27, 26,000 levels, so many people have, and this is a lot of new age people. That's why the new tech companies are failing, because a lot of the new investors own new tech companies. Now, what they're doing is they're not discriminating now. First, they were selling new tech companies. It's like this in India. Suppose my portfolio is coming down because I have losses on something. I have a business loss, or I have a cryptocurrency loss, or I have some loss. First, I will sell what is where I made money. So some people have sold new age. Then they've lost a lot of money. They've stopped selling that. Then what will I sell? I will sell what has not fallen, because what is not fallen will go at the highest price. So now what people are doing? You seen the corrections in companies like Titan, companies like Pidilite. I'm not talking about just random names. I'm talking about the Trent Industries. I don't own some of these stocks, but I'm just giving examples. It's very severe. 30% corrections in market leaders don't happen just like that. They are corrected 30, 25, 30%. The metal meltdown is causing a lot of, see, metals are not about stocks only, metals are also about margin trading. A lot of people have to buy inventory because they have to produce. Now all of a sudden the prices crash, but they have picked up futures. Now how will they be able to pass on the prices to consumers? There are a lot of problems that are coming on this front. It is just the uncertainty of too many variables. And see, on the DIA side, by the same logic, the retail investor is still now pumping money to DIAs. Otherwise, DIAs can't be buying every day. So they are not in a bearish stage right now. It's just the fact that there is, for the first time, you take China, you have an uncertainty. You have a geopolitical uncertainty because everybody neighboring India has been cornered by China. You have a supply chain problem. You have an interest rate problem. You have this inflation problem. You are at the end of the day, we are not being able to do anything to in order to tame that. We need more tax because if the market comes down, disinvestment doesn't happen. We can't do more tax because there are no savings. Now with the capital market also falling and very severe fall, if you look at the market capitalization, STTs will get hit. A lot of the GST collections that the government is talking about is inflation related. सो दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम. द प्रॉब्लम इज कि आप आपको एक सर दर्द को हैंडल करना इजी होता है, आप 10 सर दर्द को कैसे हैंडल करोगे? सो योर आवर फर्स्ट विश इज दैट द 10 headaches have to reduce to lesser headaches, and if that happens the market will stabilize. But in reality, to know that, at least I don't have the ability to know that right now.
So can I respond to this? So yeah, so initially, I started my space while saying this only, right? The Russell 2000 has corrected almost 30%, and Indian small cap has already corrected 29%. So there is a one-to-one correlation. So the point number one is that, right? And I normally run a scan called EMA9, and that technical scanner, where I cannot find a single stock matching my buying criteria. And the similar thing happened in 2020 March, right? And you can go back and check in the history, right? A similar thing happened in, if I'm not wrong, in Jan 2016, when China market closed for some 8 days, right? So all the technical indicators are super bearish, right? So number one reason. Number two, you are already corrected with USA in terms of broader market, though some of the stocks fallen 90-95%, because those companies were practically having no earnings at all, right? Basically the biotech stocks or SPACs related listing. And initially I covered this point beautifully while saying that why India FIs are selling India, because the reason is people lost big money in USA market in bitcoins and other stocks, and India is almost still on the year to, if you go by yearly returns, Nifty mid cap index is still up by 8%, right? And your Nifty is still in green, right? So this is the one market where FIs are relatively on the positive side, and they have to meet their redemption pressures which they are facing in their local markets, which the money normally FIs get from the clients, and the clients are losing in different asset classes, and they have to sell, and they are selling it right now. But I personally feel, right, FIs own almost 40 lakh crores worth of Indian stocks, and people are saying FIs are shorting in FNO. Please understand, I covered this point in detail. The entire position size of Nifty future short position is only 8,000 crores. If I account for stock future position, the total number will not exceed even 25,000 crores. So the more you sell down your stock, your NAV will keep going down and down and down, right? So you cannot sell beyond a point. So normally the selling will stop, and the moment selling will stop, and I personally feel, Safirji, this is my very strong conviction, right? Market will always make its move in advance before the macro data. The may, as you said rightly, the people don't have money to spend in USA. It means that demand will go down, right? the confidence is down.
Hi, can I comment
Yeah,
on that? See, my points on this are very simple because I'm a fact driven person. First of all, when you say that the FII's portfolios are going down, do not forget that India's allocation in the FII portfolio as a global pie is
mhm.
very minuscule. When you're, it doesn't matter to me in the market if I own, if say my portfolio, in my portfolio, say 3% of my portfolio falls, it doesn't matter. It's the 97% that disturbs me. That 97% of the portfolio is getting hit by multiple factors. First of all, I do, while you are right that there are US companies that have fallen 80 and 90%, don't forget that the largest companies in America, like the companies like Apple, companies like Netflix, companies like Meta, Facebook, some of the Amazon, Google, they are also down 30, 30, 40, 40%. They are not jokes. It's a very
So,
serious
so, so,
fall.
so
Second point
yeah,
is,
yeah,
नो, एक सेकंड मुझे पॉइंट्स बताने दो, मैं
please,
भूल
please.
जाऊंगा. क्रिप्टो, सिर्फ आज का लॉस क्रिप्टो करेंसी में $200 बिलियन है. $200 बिलियन इज द नेट टू नेट लॉस टुडे इन क्रिप्टो करेंसी मार्केट. The loss in the bond market is way more than the equity market loss. There are countries like China and Russia where the FIs cannot sell right now. So when you have a portfolio, if you have a portfolio, suppose I want to sell a portfolio tomorrow because I have losses and I want to minimize my loss, and you tell me that 50% of my portfolio because of America is has fallen way more than India, 2x of India. 15 to 20% of my portfolio I can't sell because China there's a problem, I can't sell. Russia there's a problem, I can't sell. In India, therefore, I can sell, and India has actually outperformed the world. So why should the FI not continue to sell for the next 2 or 3 months? Now I'll tell you the third point. You said that the market can see a downtrend of 5% and an upside of 40%. Please tell me which investor is not sitting with a down tick in the portfolio already of 20%. So if you had 100 rupees invested and you are at 80, and you go down another 5, so 8 fives are 32, you go down another 3.2, and then you go up 40%, you would have only made 3% returns or 4%
No,
returns.
no, I'm simply saying, please understand my point. Whatever the discussion we have started with the inflation, right? So the inflation is a central point. What you are saying essentially here is, there going to be a serious demand destruction, and you can clearly see with the kind of numbers US companies are reporting, right? You can.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not at all saying there's demand destruction. I came back from America. I met more than 100 companies in America.
No, no, no.
No, I'm not saying there's a demand destruction. There is a demand deferment. There is demand is there. It's the point is
So
that
the
it's been
kind of
deferred.
number Netflix has reported and everything, right? You can seriously see that there
Netflix is not evocative of demand.
there is a serious slowdown, right? And it's gonna be a slowdown for next 6 months for sure. And if the slowdown is there, it will solve your inflation problem. This is the basic economic theory I have learned over the period of time. The moment you see a slowdown in demand, and the base effect will kick in, right? The base effect of inflation will kick in. The next 3 to 5 months inflation print will be gonna be lower. And my only point here is, market is a forward looking animal. Please understand, Safirji, this is my
So let me also give you two theories because I did study economics at the best college in the country. When lower inflation is not good for stocks to begin with.
No,
Stocks are supposed to be anti-inflation
agreed, but
because that's why that no 1 second, that is one point. The second point is that see when a company produces, it is why right now we have a demand problem. Now you think demand will slow down. The demand slowdown means the company is already in a higher interest rate situation. Even if you do a regional thing, because of the increase in interest rate that is inevitable now in the world, the problem is that it will impact the ability of people to buy.
so
The ability to buy it means that does not mean that therefore there will be sales. No, there will be no sales. I
so
mean, for example, discretionary items like, for example, if I have to buy a car, I can defer it.
I'll give you one anecdote here, right? आप हम दोनों के काफी कॉमन फ्रेंड है विजय केडिया जी, राइट? आपको याद होगा at 8,000 levels he came on TV and said forget markets and do yoga, राइट? और उसके बाद क्या निफ्टी में हुआ, राइट? सो मैं उनको नहीं काउंटर कर रहा हूँ, अभी सब डरे हुए हैं सफीर जी, कोई भी एक
तो
आदमी आप
सर
बोला
बेच कौन रहा है?
नहीं
ये
नहीं
तो
नहीं।
मेरा क्वेश्चन है।
तो
आप
मैं
यहाँ पर
अभी क्या बोल रहा हूँ,
आप
किसी को अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, ठीक है? 3 महीने बाद अपन फिर से स्पेस करेंगे एंड यू आर सच ए ग्रेट मैन और आपकी खुद की इतनी नॉलेज है। मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ मार्केट इन्फ्लेशन को, लोअर इन्फ्लेशन को अगले 2 से 4 दिन में डिस्काउंट करना स्टार्ट कर देगा, राइट? अभी सब डरे हुए हैं, आप देखना आपको सडनली समझ में आएगा कि यार 17,000 हो गई, 17,500 हो गई, आप बोलोगे
अरे
यार
आप मेरे सिर्फ एक सिंपल क्वेश्चन का आंसर करो। देखो आप कह रहे हो डरे हुए हैं, मैं नहीं ये बोल रहा कि फियर नहीं है। मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ फियर के ऊपर एक्शन भी तो होता है ना, तभी तो मार्केट गिरती है। बट कौन सा रिटेल बेच रहा है?
नहीं नहीं आप देखो तो, अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे तो आप एमटीएफ की बुक देखो, दैट इज कॉल्ड मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग फंडिंग बुक, ठीक है? वो रिड्यूस हुई है। प्लस अभी आप जाके एक्सचेंज की ना अप्रूव्ड शेयर की लिस्ट देखो, मैं आपको सेंटिमेंट इंडिकेटर्स बता रहा हूं, आप एक्सचेंज की अप्रूव लिस्ट अभी।
सर 15,800 के लेवल पे आज एफआईएस की कॉल राइटिंग हुई है।
नहीं, मैं कुछ और बता रहा हूँ, आप उसको ये बहुत बड़ा ट्रेंड इंडिकेटर है। आप इसको समझो कि अगर आप पहले ना, आप अगर एफएनओ में काम करते हो तो आपको ना एक अप्रूव लिस्ट मिलती है कि आप ये शेयर प्लेज कर सकते हो। अगर क्योंकि आपने डिटेल में बात करी तो मैं थोड़ा, अब मेरे को डिटेल में जाना पड़ेगा, मैं इसको थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट रखना चाह रहा था। तो पहले ना एक्सचेंज 540 स्टॉक को एक्सेप्ट करता था एज ए कोलेट्रल मार्जिन, राइट? अभी ये फॉल के बाद एक्सचेंज ने उस लिस्ट को करके 380 स्टॉक्स कर दिया है। कोटक बैंक अभी जब से ये मिड कैप का फॉल स्टार्ट हुआ तो कोटक बैंक 403 शेयर्स में लैस देता था, लोन अगेंस्ट शेयर्स, उस लिस्ट को उन्होंने घटा के 240 कर दिया है, राइट? सो आप उनकी वेबसाइट्स पे जाके लैस वाले सेक्शन में देखेंगे तो लिस्ट दिन पर दिन घटते जा रही है। ये मैं प्रोप्राइटरी डेस्क पे डेटा के टर्म्स में यूज करता हूं। सो मेरा एक थंब रूल है, व्हेन एक्सचेंज आर fearful, when bankers are fearful, you are close to the bottom.
So one
So,
second,
तो
one
एक्सचेंज भी
second. Please
एक्सचेंज
tell
भी
me
मार्जिन को
which.
रिड्यूस कर रहा है।
Please
आप
tell me
देखना,
which bank in our country is fearful. Banks want you to take the loans.
नो नो नो, बट लैस की जो शीट है ना, जो अप्रूव्ड
अब
शेयर लिस्ट
अब मैं
होती थी,
आपको अब
वो
आपको
छोटी
दूसरी
हो
साइड
रही है।
देता हूँ विदाउट नेमिंग पीपल। मैं आपको दूसरी साइड देता हूँ। फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट मी टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ से 2 or 3 of my retail friends who are apparently very very good in small cap and mid cap investing. I'm giving you an example. Their portfolios have seen a drawdown of 20%. They're saying what, how do we will we buy? First I'll tell you why. Because first, many people who buy stocks don't have incremental money. Second point is they do not want to sell what they own. Third point is that today the SEBI rules are so anti-investor, with this margin required even to sell, margin required even to buy. So an investor needs double the margin even if he has to switch over from one sell to the other, which he's not. He doesn't have that money.
सो एग्जैक्टली मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि मार्केट में उतनी बुलिश पोजीशन नहीं है, वो ऑलरेडी रिड्यूस हो गई है सेबी की मार्जिन की वजह से।
अरे सर वो
एक्सचेंज के
आप ना
टाइटर,
एक साइड समझ रहे हो, मैं दूसरी साइड बोल रहा हूँ। आप एक साइड को कर रहे हो, मैं डिनाई नहीं कर रहा। मैं दूसरी साइड बोल रहा हूँ कि क्योंकि मार्केट के अंदर आपने इतना अनफेवरेबल एनवायरनमेंट बना दिया है, इसीलिए स्लाइट अमाउंट ऑफ सेलिंग मार्केट अब्सॉर्ब नहीं कर पा रही है।
सो
और
आप
ये स्लाइट इन्वेस्टमेंट, ये स्लाइट नहीं हो रही है। एफआई की जो सेलिंग है वो बड़े, आज का फिगर 5,000 करोड़ से ऊपर का है।
एग्रीड
वो
एग्रीड
वो कोई अब्सॉर्ब ही नहीं कर रहा है। और अब क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, अब एक कंपनी में लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल, एक कंपनी के अंदर रिजल्ट आता है, वो अभी अमेरिका के अंदर एक कंपनी ने अपनी अर्निंग को सिर्फ हार्डली नॉट इवन 1% से मिस किया, 20% स्टॉक गिर गया था।
मैं उसको सफीर जी दूसरा कॉन्ट्रा करूं, आपको याद होगा जब इंडिया में सारी कंपनीज बंद थी, फैक्ट्रीज बंद थे, आउटलेट बंद थे, नंबर्स लॉस के आ रहे थे और स्टॉक्स अपर सर्किट मार रहे थे, राइट? सो ये तो साइकिल है सफीर जी, ऐसा नहीं
सर
सोच
वर्ल्ड के अंदर करेंसी प्रिंट हो रही थी तब, और
नहीं
क्वांटिटेटिव ईजिंग चल रही थी, मैसिव अमाउंट ऑफ मनी लिक्विडिटी हुई थी। डोंट
नहीं,
फॉरगेट फेड
हाँ,
का जो बाइंग प्रोग्राम है, वो बाइंग प्रोग्राम बहुत खतरनाक है।
ट्रम्प ने जस्ट आके अनाउंस किया था उस समय कि मैं कुछ करने वाला हूं, उसके बाद मार्केट का बॉटम हो गया था। मैं
ट्रम्प
एक,
ने, यूके
हाँ,
ने, जापान ने,
तो
चाइना ने, सब ने पैसे छापे थे।
मैं यही चीज कहना चाह रहा हूं कि उसका रिवर्स हो रहा है, राइट? उसका जस्ट एग्जैक्टली रिवर्स हो रहा है। और आप एक चीज देखो कि आपकी निफ्टी की आज अर्निंग्स क्या है और उस समय क्या थी। और अगर आप इस लेवल पे भी निफ्टी की अर्निंग्स को सस्टेन कर लेते हो, जो कि आपका 730 रुपीज की अर्निंग्स आपकी इस साल की आई है, या अगले साल अगर 730 भी आती है, और उसको आप 20 की पी भी देते हो, तो 14,600, 14,800। और आपको क्या लगता है कि एक साल में वर्ल्ड इस चीज को फिगर आउट नहीं
हाँ
कर
तो
पाएगा?
सर अगर मार्केट 14,800 15,000 आ जाएगी, कंसिडरिंग अ ड्रॉप ऑफ 2% पर डे फॉर द लास्ट 10 days, यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ वेरी मीनिंगफुल करेक्शन स्टिल, because
नहीं,
it is not 2% per day, it is
आपको
2% compounded per day.
मैं तो आपको वर्स्ट, नहीं वर्स्ट केस सिचुएशन बता रहा हूँ कि इससे ज्यादा आप, मैंने स्टार्टिंग से ही बोला कि 5% का रिस्क है, राइट? 5% के रिस्क पे आपको एक 50% का अपसाइड मिल रहा है। मैं ये देखता हूँ कि इन्फ्लेशन नीचे जाएगा।
Sir, you are a seasoned investor.
सो
I may be a seasoned investor. How many people in our country
सो
have
इट्स
the heart? Sir, let's remember one
इट्स
thing, that many people in the country do not invest in equity only with the surplus money. For many people, equity is the source of a lot of things they do in life. If
नो,
that source is disrupted, they have fear. They do not wait. Why do you think the mutual funds, which are very credible in our country, struggle? Because people pour them with money at the highs and withdraw at the lows.
सो
When has this changed? When has it ever changed?
this is our job to educate people, right? This is
Yeah,
not,
y-
this is not,
yeah,
this is not the time to sell. That's why we are speaking at 11 a.m., 11 p.m. in the night, right? This is
correct.
not the
But
time to
but
sell.
you and me and all the people put together in this room and our entire families and our entire friends do not equal to even one day of an FI action.
Agreed, right? But I can, I don't see much downside in the market, right? These indicators worked in the past, and I'm damn confident. And you should also remain positive. And
Sir, I'm already saying I'm invested, but let me also tell you, having seen the crash of the market, at 17% downtrend becomes 20%, and people's perception change becomes 25%. People change at 30%. They vow never to come back in the market at 40%. That is why even right now, when you spoke about Vijay Kedia said that it is always the foolishness of the market that brings the market high, and it is the foolishness of the market that brings it down. But we never know when the market is being foolish and when it's being smart. What I'm trying to say is that we can be in the market, which we are. We have already faced a loss, so we can't do anything about it. Some of the loss may be paper loss, but some of it is genuine also, because some companies have disappointed and you've exited or you've done whatever things. And what do you do now? You just have to wait and watch. But the point is, it is I don't feel right now the market is showing any signs of being bullish.
yeah, okay, so it will be a long debate. But as per whatever the indicator I see, I can see global markets are down. Despite of that, I feel this market will not go down big time. So I'll end the space with this closing remarks. The market will not go big time down. And if you have a patience of 1 to 2 years and you can afford a drawdown of 5 to 7% from here on, you should remain invested. And if you have a surplus money and your equity allocation is not proper and you are only 10 15%
अच्छा, let me ask you just a academic question. अभी आपका portfolio 20% गिरा होगा
आराम से 17
अभी?
17.5 because I do a lot of hedging.
चलो 17, अभी
तो
आप बोल रहे हो 5 से 7% गिरेगा, तो
हाँ,
मोटा मोटा,
हाँ,
बिकॉज 5 से 7% कंपाउंडेड रेट पे गिरेगा, तो मोटा मोटा विल बी डाउन 30%।
करेक्ट, हाँ, 25 30%।
ओके, जब जब ये क्राइसिस आया था मार्केट के अंदर, जब ये क्राइसिस का मतलब जब मार्केट क्रैश करी थी, The Sensex was down only 31%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 31% is a very brutal fall.
Please understand, right? Or sorry, December 2010, I was up some 50% on the entire investment. वो 56 भी कवर हुआ और 50 और ऊपर हो गया. So आप समझो कितना परसेंट CAGR हुआ, रफली 32% CAGR. और लेट्स से राइट, बट मैं इतना डर गया कि मेरे पास जो सरप्लस मनी था वो मैंने नहीं लगाया. अगर वो मैं जब 56% डाउन था, अगर वो मैंने पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया होता तो कुछ अलग ही चीजें होती, राइट. सो मेरा
सर यहाँ पर ना एक एक लॉयर मैं हूँ और एक लॉयर संदीप है जो मुझे दिख रहे हैं, बाकी मुझे नहीं पता, हो सकता और भी हो. हमको लॉ में एक चीज सिखाई गई थी, अदर थिंग्स बीइंग इक्वल, and other things are not equal right now, because when you're talking about the drawdown, there was a massive effort by the governments all over the world led by US to revive the equity market, to pump liquidity in. Right now Biden has just made a statement yesterday, I don't care about the market, I only care about inflation, and I'm going to continuously increase interest rates.
so let's review in September. I think that will be a more prudent.
No, but that I agree. See, you're not. I'm not debating with you on what will happen after 3-4 months. I'm agreeing with you, and I'm not only agreeing. If I'll be a fool to be 100% invested if I feel that the market is going to have a huge drawdown. But I'm saying first the market must stop falling. It's the problem is that this market is not fall. It's not stopping. It's like ridiculous. In the morning you see the market is relatively okay, then towards 2 o'clock, 2:30, it starts falling because everywhere in the world FIIs only come to sell at 3 p.m. They have a system driven order, and that time they crash the market. Dow opens every day reasonably good. Today also Dow opened reasonably good. Nasdaq was up. Dow has crashed 500 points just now. Nasdaq has gone into negative territory. It's become like लोगों को बोल रहे हैं, लोग बोल रहे हैं यार कुछ भी हो अभी एक निकालो, अभी पैसा बचाओ, क्योंकि हमारा डेली मार्क टू मार्केट लॉस नहीं होना चाहिए. डेली चलो जिसका मार्क टू मार्केट नहीं है, डेली ड्रॉडाउन में बेंचमार्किंग में लॉस नहीं होना चाहिए, बिकॉज आउट परफॉर्म करने के लिए. प्लस किसका लॉस बिटकॉइन में हो रहा है, किसका उसका लॉस बिजनेस में हो रहा है, किसी की सप्लाई चेन डिस्टर्ब हुई है, किसी को इन्फ्लेशन में सेविंग नहीं हो रही, ये समझ ही नहीं आ रहा अभी किसी को.
नहीं तो
It's very difficult to know right now.
सो एक चीज तो इन्वेस्टर के लिए है ना कि जब सब कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आ रहा हो, सो उसके बाद इक्विटी चलती है, राइट. ये आप तो मानोगे ना.
But no, but equity may not perform for several months now. That's what I'm
नहीं,
saying.
तो फिर जी ये 2008 में भी लगा था, 2016 में भी लगा था, 2020 में भी लगा था.
सर मैं आपको ना एक चीज बताता हूँ,
मैं
2008 ले लेते हैं,
मैं
8
आपको
ले
मैं
लेते हैं. मुझे please show me from transcripts any single person who came and timed the market and said yes is the time to buy. Even they said we suffered a loss.
सर अपना थोड़ा सा, अगर आप थोड़ा सा ट्रैक करेंगे या मैं आपको पुराने ट्वीट्स भेज दूंगा. मैंने कोशिश किया है टाइम करने का और रिलेटिवली 70-75% का सक्सेस रेशियो है. मैं आपको
So,
बोल
sir,
रहा हूँ.
by the same logic, when COVID hit in April, I was one of the few people who came on television, Twitter, and said that the market will do well. I'm not saying, I'm not saying even now, and I'm not wishing particularly. Saying is forget. I'm not wishing that the market falls because I don't like the fact that we are down 17%. But I'm saying that the next, let the market stop falling. If the market stops falling and you've seen 2-3 days of rally, how much will you miss? देन यू डू वट एवर यू वांट टू डू. मतलब 2 दिन 3 दिन रैली हो गई है, मार्केट 2-3% बढ़ गई, तो आपका क्या चले जाएगा?
नहीं नहीं
आपका
प्लीज.
उल्टा 17% में से आप वापस 15 पे आ जाओगे, आप थोड़ा खुशी भी लगेगी. फिर
नहीं
फिर थोड़ा सा सर्टेनिटी आ जाएगी, कोई पॉलिसी पे बोलेगा, कोई कुछ पे बोलेगा. अभी तो आरबीआई ऑल्सो हैड टू टेक एक्शन बिकॉज आरबीआई ऑल्सो रियलाइज इट्स एन इमरजेंसी.
नहीं.
मतलब some, I'm not trying to see, I'm not making, for the benefit of everybody listening, I'm not trying to tell you that I'm bearish. So please let clear that out. It's not, if I'm bearish and I'm invested, then I don't know what I'm doing with my
No,
money.
no, no. I know you are always bullish,
This,
and
I like
you are
companies.
you are just putting the facts which you are seeing.
I like
Out
companies. I want to invest, but tell me where will I get the and I earn because I'm a good lawyer, I'm successful, etc. But tell me in reality, where will the money come from? Because if I put a bid, I know my friends who are very value conscious bidders. They have bought just 3 days back. They're telling me 10% drawdown, 12% drawdown in one day, 2 days.
but please understand, I think Here we are talking for the investors, not for the traders who buy it tomorrow and see the
They are
stock.
the best investors. They are the guys who really is no multi-baggers. But the point is, see, you when you have only limited money and you see drawdowns, then you stop buying. That's the problem. The problem of the market is that retail has stopped buying, because retail is not buying it out of choice. Like, I am not stopped buying out of choice. The fact is, people's money is starts reducing. At the same time, they have to tackle a lot of see. I have I have just come back from travel. You know, the cost of the airline ticket was exorbitant. The cost of hotels is exorbitant. The dollar rate is exorbitant. If I go to a conference, will I restrain from buying the dollar bill? Will I stop eating meals? My taxi bills were exorbitant. What do I do?
So,
It's a
so,
reality that I'm facing.
so if you are saying that Biden is saying the inflation has to come down, and the US policies are aligning with that,
In three
right?
quarters, 3 to 4 quarters, they're saying.
But I can, we can have a space on 10th May, sorry, 10th June, and I can tell you that this print of US inflation will go down, right? And the US bond yields are already telling that. So my limited point is the main fear right now with the world is US inflation. Forget about the India inflation, right? Nobody cares. If the US stabilizes, the world will stabilize, right? This is the central theme. And I can tell you, with whatever you are sharing and whatever the collateral damage other asset classes are seeing, right? The US inflation print for June will be lower. And if that is happening, bond yields of US is already reflecting that. And if that is the case, my limited point is, because it will be like, no, never ending discussion. My limited point is market will look forward, and we should remain hopeful. I feel the all the data points which I see, the exchange dashboard where the margins are going up, the number of approved shares are coming down, bankers dashboard where the last loan against last list is coming down, right? They are calling the loan, right? So let's say I'll give you one example. So one of the my client, he got a funding in decal, that is called disman Carbogen, right? He bought some shares worth 10 crores, and he got funding from one bank worth 10 crores. So it's a 50-50 kind of a deal, or maybe 60-40 kind of a deal. Now the bank gave him the notice, and while saying that decal is no longer a approved share with us, either you give me a better quality shares to run your loan, right? So these things are already starting hitting the market. And normally, if you go with the anecdote, these things happen at the bottom, right? So where the bankers are becoming fearful, exchanges are becoming fearful, exchanges are now removing shares from FNO. You must have, you'll see a lot of stocks going out from FNO in next 2 to 3 months. These are the sign of bottoming out process. Third, exchanges are increasing the futures margin, right? So I can see with all the certainty, right, after 15 days things will be different, and you and me and everybody will be more hopeful than we are right now. I know it's a very difficult situation, but we should remain positive, and we should see, you know 3 6 months 9 months down the line, we'll be not discussing what we are discussing right now.
So
After
9 months, I also agree with you. I have not commented on 9 months. I hope 6 months is also good. Just as you're talking, see, you're talking on one side, which is the regulatory side of banks and whatever margins, etc. Please also understand that market capitalization of almost all the listed companies in India has been eroded by about 17 to 20 or even more percentage. In lot of these companies, there is something called a promoter stake. A lot of this promoter stake is pledged for, if nothing else, for working capital requirements. The promoters also have margin calls.
so these things happen at the bottom, Rasafirji, if I'm
So
not
what do
wrong.
the promoter do then? But please show me on the bulk deals right now. Show me on the bulk deals which company promoters have
No,
been
no,
selling.
no. So if they get a margin call, let's say in 3 4 5 days time, let's say hypothetically, right? I'm not observing a margin call on the promoter side. I'm observing the margin call on the HNI, or mainly smaller guys, on the smaller, the people who take smaller loans, right? As per my, because I talk to a lot of RMS heads with in broking companies, and they are saying there is a serious, the retail is having almost no position in the FNO market, not the big position. They are only writing puts, which is the dangerous sign for the market. Only they are writing puts, which is a bullish position. Otherwise, the lot of
नहीं, पर
stock.
सर मेरा पॉइंट ये नहीं है, मेरा पॉइंट है कि जब जेन्युइन इक्विटी ड्रॉप है और अभी प्रमोटर्स के पास खुद का व्हेन promoters themselves have collateral, sorry I'm speaking in Hindi, I should have spoken in English, we have other listeners also. When promoters have collaterals and that collateral has not been sold in the market, retail has not sold in the market, then what is the, where is the fear? the
So
fear is the fear is only a feeling in my eyes, that in my tears in my eyes to think that my portfolio is falling, but where is the fear when it's not backed by action?
so
Who has sold portfolios? Neither a promoter sold, nor is retail sold, nor is DI sold. FIIs, I guarantee you, no FIIs will sell another 5,000 crores for the next 3-4 days.
okay, fine. So no problem. So you will drop by how much with this
I
five?
don't know. I wish if I knew, then I would. If I knew, then tomorrow morning I'll take a bet on it. I wish I knew. I'm saying, why
At
do you think for the? Tell
some
me. Everybody tells me.
some point,
Everybody
some
tells me
point,
that that you've always been a perennial bull. Why have I been saying since February, March, April that I cannot comment on the market because the behavior of the market is becoming very uncertain, and I've proven right. I was the only person who came on Twitter and said, "Stop gallivanting all these metals; they're going to crash." I said,
so,
please, banks will be a saviors. Banks are the only saviors. Banks
so
have not fallen in accordance with the market.
so
Ma'am,
please,
tell me how the view. People kept coming on Twitter chats and saying, no, small caps are the best, mid caps are the best. They will not fall. They will do this. Retail, Indian retail. Even government made statements that look, our market is so resilient. Where is the resilience gone in just first 8 days? 8 days you were not able to hold the market.
please understand, all these sellings are lot of things has to do with the US fall, right? You cannot stand alone, right? Russell 2000
Then
has
why are you falling half of US? Why are you falling half of US if
no
it
no
is connected?
no.
No, it isn't. You have
Nini,
decoupled
please
in this fall.
understand. The Russell 2000 has fallen. I'll give you the data. Russell 2000 has fallen 30%. Indian small cap index has fallen 29%. You are fallen just 1%.
Sir, I will send you newsletters of the top 5 FIs in the world. Indian market has been decoupled in this fall vis-a-vis the rest of the world. Even a finance minister said this
Oh,
in parliament.
just forget about those rhetoric and just hear me out. And I'll send you the data as well, and I'll put it while tagging you. Russell 2000 fallen 30%. Indian small cap has fallen 29%. Now Nasdaq has fallen 31%. Indian IT has fallen some 26%. So you are just up by 5%, right? In terms of the percentage terms. Now Nasdaq and Nifty IT almost two 1 to 2% difference. So the fall is stock wise maybe less in India, but if you talk in terms of index wise, the fall is more or less same. The problem with USA is their growth is gonna go down big time because
So the fall is not the same because the largest investor in India, whether you and me like it or not, is FII. The currency itself has caused the FII to lose an additional
no
10%.
the rupee was trading around 74 and a half.
72 has become
Exact bottom
77.7.
74 and a half was the range, and right now it is 76, so which is 4-5%. So
How is it 76, sir? As of today itself, I'm a foreign
7 and a
exchange
half,
earner.
77 and a half. So
तो 77.3 or something पे डॉलर
5-6%
कैश
loss
हुए
on
हैं आज.
currency, but they hedge also, so they will be losing some less amount of money. But that is not the point. The point is India is growing at the rate of 6.5-7%. US will grow at the rate of 2-2.5-3% in coming.
Today I was speaking to somebody, I will not name, who's in charge of the exports trade in the government. Please tell me one competent product that India exports. Competent, which means competent does not mean quality. It means on a world scalability issue, one product that
No,
India exports,
I'm, as
which compare
no,
zero.
I'm just making a case for India. The India is growing at the rate of 7%. US is growing at the rate of 2.5%. Europe is almost barely growing, or growing at the rate of 1%. Chances are people will sooner or later, when things stabilizes, come into the growth markets like India or maybe Taiwan or some other market.
Yes, they will. If China and Russia allow them to open their markets and some of these people are able to exit, then they will stop selling in India.
Don't you think that the things will stabilize in next couple of months?
I agree with you. I don't know why we're debating on the next few months. I'm also agreeing. I'm saying first let the market stop falling, because you don't know the next 5 days it falls another 10%. Then how many people here will have the brave heart to say that we have seen a 30% erosion now?
Okay,
मेरे को ये you see, try and understand, it's not about you and me, it's about people, it's about how many people. I'm sorry, when I go to talks and I talk to people and tell them you're going to have a 30% drawdown, they don't want to touch equity. But that's the reality. There's not you and me. I'm saying.
but we cannot buy this. Like if it has fallen 30%, we should wait.
And let me also tell you that today I spoke to two of the largest investors in India. They said 5% bounce back in the market, and we will like to offload some part of our portfolio. Maybe that's also wish. A lot of people are wishing that the market bounces back so that they can cut a little bit. That's the problem. No, it is a contagion problem. See, it's like contagion means contagion by China. Contagion. I am hoping like you. I'm praying and I'm hoping, and I every day hope. In
No,
fact, my tweet itself said that I hope that it's the end. Maybe we're near the bottom. I'm also saying this, but it's not happening only.
but
And
why?
I can't argue against what is proof. See, lawyers will never argue against facts that are proving themselves to be wrong. So I also say when I don't know the facts, I would rather remain silent till I'm more certain. That's my problem.
No, no, absolutely. Your point is well taken. But whatever the
मैं
sentiment.
bearish नहीं हूँ. Again and again I'm saying
No, no, no. I know
bear.
you are bullish. There is no point debating on that. But my
सॉरी टू
point is,
इंटरप्ट सर. सर यहाँ पे डिबेट करने का कोई टाइम नहीं है, अभी 12 बज गए हैं, तो आई थिंक सबको जाना चाहिए
no,
अब.
no, so
एंड
my
क्लोजिंग
closing
रिमार्क्स दे के आप जा सकते हैं.
is, hold on. My closing remarks is the sentiment indicators are so bearish, right? And people are afraid of touching equity. Normally, you see the bottom. This is as per the history, the bottom very soon, right? And the point by Safirji is well taken. Let's market find its feet in next 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days. Once we see the stability, right, we can come to you again and we can give you the guidance ki what you can buy and what you can hold on for next 12 to 18 months. But the my view is not for 3 to 5 days. My view is for 1 to 2 years minimum, maybe 3 years. And I feel this normally after, in hindsight, maybe in September, October, you will say, oh, what a great opportunity we missed at 15,800. I know Dow is down 500 points right now. SGX Nifty is also down 50 points. It is quite obvious to, think on the negative lines. But, when things are really bad, normally if you invest and if you have the guts and you have other source of income like us, and if you can hold on to those investments, you gonna make serious amount of money. So from that's all from my side. Any
Yeah,
closing
and
remarks, Safirji?
I will just add to this. I agree with the fact. First, let me re-qualify this. First, if you have the heart to see a drawdown of 5 to 7%, despite the 20 odd % you have seen, then it is a very good time for you to deploy money, because then your mind is not going to focus on the 5 to 7% loss, and you will forget that. And when you forget that, if you then you will obviously feel less pain. Secondly, there is no doubt that I think that over a period of time, which I cannot say, but will be a matter of few months. And I do not disagree with the fact that when you look back from there, you will be happy that you made money. But the first thing is that you have to adjust to the fact that you could, right now, the problem is people are calling me. They're not asking me what to buy. They're asking me how do we save ourselves from the 17%, 20%. I mean, I've heard investors say we are down 30%, for 35%, 40%. And I told them, are you leveraged? They said no. So the problem is to first see, for example, tomorrow, let's assume the market is flat. I will consider that to be a good sign. At least 2 or 3 days of flat will also be a good sign. If SGX is down 25 points, it will be a good sign, because SGX normally is down 170 points, 220 points. And then what happens is it strikes the hell out of first TV anchors, who start tweeting at 7 a.m. in the morning telling you that everything is bad. Then everybody comes on TV and technical chartists come and add to that. Then the person who doesn't want to sell is told no, it'll fall more, so he sells more. And then at 3 o'clock, the FIs come and say we'll put fire to this and we'll make it fall even more. Let's have something, at least some wind that gives us relief. The moment you find relief, please go ahead and buy all your favorite stocks that you already own and you're very sure of, because they will reward you. That is how investing always rewards over time. SIP investors always do well.
That's great insight, right? So to conclusion from this space is, wait for a couple of days if you are fully invested, or if you have 10, 15, 20% of a cash. Wait for a couple of days. Let's wait for the stability, and once the market showing sign of any resilience, then you can invest that money with the time frame of 12 to 18 months. So I think great space, Safirji.
And
Thank you so
you
much.
please keep, and you please keep such chats on, because you do a good job. At least you, if irrespective of what view people have, short term, long term, at least it has an engagement, it has
Yeah,
a knowledge, it
yeah.
adds some level of belief, and it's a very good process. So you,
But
hats off to you.
no, no, hats off to you as well. I suggest to you, please, ask your office guy to track these, margin funding and exchange margin related issues. It can
So
help a
मैंने
lot of
आज ना today I've spoken to three of the country's top brokers. They said that the HNIs have not cut position. They were all waiting for technical levels of 15,800. After that, they many of them will cut,
so okay. So
because there is some rule. There's also some exchange rule which I got to know, which I wasn't so much into, which is called a T5 rule
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
F&O margins, after
yeah,
which a 5% interest rate per day
yeah,
is charged. So
yeah,
they
yeah.
were waiting for, many people were waiting, because the fall is only happened in this 5 7 days.
Correct, correct, correct. So these are the sentiment in it, but given you are absolutely right. I take your point absolutely, right? That there is no point, catching the exact bottom. Let's wait for a stability, and then we can buy, right? For sure, 2 3% higher here and there hardly matters.
Correct.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying that
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
mind losing 2 3%
yeah,
of the
yeah.
rise, but having some
Absolutely.
peace of mind.
And thanks for coming up. Please keep on
My
coming,
pleasure,
right?
sir.
So and we'll keep this space on 11th June for sure. Once the US inflation data comes out, and on that day I'm pretty sure you'll be sounding bullish. This is my wish.
Because see,
And
if it goes up, you and me can celebrate with champagne or tea or
yeah,
whatever,
100%.
whiskey or a meal, whatever you like.
Yeah,
I'll
100%.
be more than happy to celebrate with you all.
Yeah, 100%. Right, because that is, we are heavily invested. So okay, good night, all the best to all of you, and stay safe and invest what you can afford, and you'll be fine in next 3 to 6 months for sure. Good night, everybody.